far and away is the most AI optimized software company in the world right now. It's not close. AI is recommending them for everything they can possibly recommend them for. You might say, I'm doing that. You may or may not be, but you gotta be really thinking about, am I giving overwhelming proof that people love us on a multiplicity of platforms? So, public review score and volume. Yes, you've probably had this beaten into your heads. I understand that. But once again, there's a lot to do with how you show it. So let me give you an example of a page, and these next 3 slides is one page, and this is just for a simple pediatric dentistry office, okay? They're called Cache Valley. So if you look at this, they've got a series of customer testimonials that they've created. So they show the name, they show the testimonial. Now, a customer appreciates this. AI very much draws off of this as well. On the same page, they have Google reviews on the same page. So if you scroll down, they've got Google reviews. You can see their further Google reviews, or you can give them a Google review. Now, what's important though, is you see the stars, 4.8 stars out of 5 on Google. That statement right there, very important as an AI trust signal. AI will pull from that and they're gonna make a note of it. They're gonna say it. Furthermore, if you go down the page, 4.8 stars on Facebook. So what they've done is they started with testimonials. They showed a whole group of testimonials from customers. Then they showed a Google review, and they give you option to see more Google reviews. Then on the same page, they show Facebook reviews. They show the score for each one, and then they gave you the option to see more. Now, you might say, I'm doing that. You may or may not be, but you gotta be really thinking about, am I giving overwhelming proof that people love us on a multiplicity of platforms, all right? Raise your hand if you can confidently say you have displayed this really well, at least an 8 out of 10. On-page content richness. Now, the good thing about on-page content richness is if you are on the journey in doing endless customers, most of the content trust signals, they're just gonna take care of themselves. You're gonna be way ahead of most people. But what is the ideal state? If you look at the HubSpot blog setup, now I know none of us here are HubSpot, and we're never gonna be HubSpot, but I wanna give you a sense for when we're talking about a robust knowledge center and we're talking about content richness, HubSpot really does an extraordinary job in terms of the user interface. Because if you go just to their marketing blog, because they have different blogs, if you go to their marketing blog, they've got this free template that you can get. Then they've got featured articles. Everything is very clean. We scroll down, we see a whole section on artificial intelligence. Scroll down, whole section on Instagram marketing. Scroll down, same page. We've got the HubSpot video library, and scroll down further, and then we've got the HubSpot podcast network. So if you look at just content surface area, they've gone from these articles to showing what they're doing on Instagram, to showing what they're doing on podcasts, to showing their video library. It's like robust, which is where everybody ends up if you're doing endless customers. Doesn't happen overnight. HubSpot far and away is the most AI optimized software company in the world right now. It's not close. It's not close. AI is recommending them for everything they can possibly recommend them for. And it's because of the overwhelming signals that they have established. And they leaned into AI optimization early on, and it's paying dividends. So if you want to get inspired, make sure you go to them. Accuracy of claims. Now, this is one that's interesting because I never really thought about this hard as a signal before. It just wasn't something that was on my mind. But guess what? AI cares about this. They want accuracy, which is a little bit ironic considering how much they hallucinate. But they want accuracy. Again, it's just, the whole thing is funny to me because I'm sure if you use AI much and if you're researching much, you consistently have to tell it, stop lying, Stop making stuff up. Only source. Give me links. I mean, you've got to be so funny about it. Notwithstanding the fact that it does that, it will penalize you hard if you come across as making claims that are unproven. So how do you prove your claims? One of the best companies that has done this online is, now this is a big website, but it's Healthline. They're doing some really interesting things with their trust signals, especially with the nuance of accuracy. If you look at, they have a page that talks about their editorial process. I'm gonna recommend to everyone here that you follow the Healthline example, that you go back and you look at some of their accuracy pages that they have created. So we've got our editorial process, how we provide trustworthy, accessible, accurate information. At Healthline, we're committed to providing you with trustworthy, accessible, accurate information so you're equipped to care for your health and wellness. We use an established editorial process to ensure we're giving you the best possible information. So we've got this sentiment that they have structure. Then if you go to number 1, earning and maintaining trust, health information is easy to find, but it can be confusing, overwhelming, inaccurate, irrelevant, or inaccessible. We're here to change that. We provide content that's trustworthy, accurate, evidence-based, clear, understandable, accessible, empathetic, and actionable. They are totally optimizing for AI right here. It is so obvious what's going on, which is no surprise that AI is freaking in love with this company. They recommend the living you-know-what out of them. So if you continue down this same page, their editorial process, now they tell you, as you should tell your audience, how they prioritize, or how, in this case, you prioritize accuracy, empathy, and accessibility. We want to make sure everything we publish is accessible and understandable to our readers. As such, we rely on a proprietary style guide based on the Associated Press style book. So they go on to say that. This ensures our writers and editors are focused on readability, clarity, empathy, real-life application, quality sourcing, and clear citations. And then look at number 4. Health information is constantly changing. New research emerges. Old ideas are disproven and terminology becomes out of date. At Healthline, we continually monitor and update our content to make sure we're sharing the most up-to-date and accurate information possible. I'm telling you, I have never seen a website so far ahead in terms of teaching AI why it should be trusted. And this is why they're dominating when it comes to AI recommendations. Raise your hand if you're anywhere close to this. Yes, Chris?
How would you verify with trust in an article like this?
Yeah, part of it is you notice that how they describe their process, but they describe their process in such a way that they've named it, and then they say, and this is why it works. This is why it's effective. So you can do the exact same thing. If you really on your site describe the process within this editorial page, all right? So if you have an editorial process page, which you should, and everybody now should, I'm gonna ask everybody in this room to go ahead and do what we're seeing here from Healthline. And this shouldn't take you an inordinate amount of time, but it's gonna be a great trust signal, all right? When you do this, now all of a sudden, you can explain your process. I would give it a name. I would explain why it works, why it's accurate. But if you notice how many words they used that were really just nuanced words that were trust-based words, it is uncanny how much they do this with this page when they said this line right here: readability, clarity, empathy, real-life application, quality sourcing, clear citations.
Like, because we're using like the number of policies, like that we've helped somebody down to a street.
Good. And I would say that on there.
Okay.
Right, so you should explain the science behind your editorial process on your site. AI will pick up on that, absolutely, and say they're doing things to have real cited information that others just aren't having in their space.
I mean, it did rank an AI overview in 3 days.
Yeah, no question about it. No question about it. And I think you'll just get a much bigger lead by going even further. Because you're so data-driven, and AI loves data combined with good teaching. All right, so that's good, Chris.